Boss decided she doesn't want us to have a chair anymore. I work at a pretty low traffic store. More than half the time there is no customers inside. Most of the time it's one employee working at a time, but sometimes there are overlapping shifts. Well, I'm first shift today, and when I got here in the morning, I noticed that our nice and relatively new swivel chair was gone. Weird. I asked our janitor if he knew where it was. He said that Big Boss told him to get rid of it. That she doesn't want a chair behind the counter anymore. He said he already threw it away. Now mind you, this chair we had was actually pretty nice, and one of my coworkers bought it with his own money. We used to have a different chair, but another one of our coworkers broke it, and it was just thrown in the garbage. Now we do have a stool that we can sit on, but it's not nearly as comfortable. And if there's more than one employee here, the one without it is Saul. I don't understand why employers are so anti-sitting down. I mean, usually no one's in here, and even if there are, customers don't give a shit. Sometimes I would even sit in the chair to help me reach stuff behind the counter. 'Cause I'm not good at bending. It's so frustrating. Why do they do this? Talked to my coworker who bought the chair. He said he spent $120 on it. He texted the boss asking her to reimburse him. He also said he hopes the janitor secretly took it home instead of throwing it away. Because that's just stupid. Who knows? The reason my boss decided to get rid of it is because sales have been down and the owner complained to her about us sitting too much. Because I guess us sitting is the reason no one's coming in the store these days. 2 Good news, guys. I talked to the janitor again. Turns out we had a little miscommunication. There was a second chair that we had behind the counter for like a day or two, kind of a shitty chair. Turns out that's the one he threw away. Whereas my coworker's chair he locked up in the back. It lives. Your coworker should send your boss the bill for how much the chair cost them. Cruelty and control. This is such an American thing too. Cashiers in the EU sit. Like others have said, it's a way to exert power. Because apparently, sitting means you're lazy. Get up and do some actual work. Of course, that's not what it means. But perception is everything. Now mind you, this chair we had was actually pretty nice, and one of my coworkers bought it with his own money. And it was just thrown in the garbage. If that coworker wants to assert that because he bought it it's his chair, he could go after them for theft unless he authorized them to dispose of it. And he'd probably be right. Why do they do this? It's all about them asserting petty power and acting like they're in control and dominating you into submission. Anything they say about reasoning is just a lie they made up as an excuse. Stop asking why and get angry. Find another job that doesn't mistreat you like this. Chairs are reasonable accommodations. Visit a healthcare provider to find out your need. Here in Chile we have the law of the chair since 1914. A milestone in the recognition of labor rights. It established the right to rest for employees, stores and the like. In freaking 1914. Roll the one from the manager's office out there. I've quit a job for less. I hate America. This is fucking dystopian. If they threw it in the garbage, they need to pay him for it. It wasn't theirs to throw out. Likely the manager stole it. My wife was a teller at a bank, and they wouldn't even allow her to use a bar stool when she was pregnant. This whole Protestant workers must suffer ethic has got to die. If I owned a company and an older customer voiced that they didn't like that the employees could sit, I would defend the employees, not the customer. There are many sadists out there, and they go for supervisory positions quite deliberately to make others suffer. As a customer, I have never ever given a fuck as a cashier was standing or sitting. If anything, I'm relieved they are sitting. My supervisor tried that bullshit. He tossed out 3 chairs because sitting workers aren't working workers. His words. We now have 5 chairs. Fuck 'em. Maliciously comply. Remove the chair from your boss's office and all other chairs in the building. Rules is rules. I don't understand why employers are so anti-sitting down. It has nothing to do with sitting down. Some bosses are just jerks and feel like they have to do jerk shit to get that rush of being in charge. They get an idea in their head and overreact without thinking it through because that's what they think being in charge means. It's actually an insecurity. All that said, she needs to pay back whoever purchased that chair. Just quit. Businesses like these deserve to go out of business. Also, your coworker should demand payment for the chair. Because it is part of process of psychologically breaking people. 'Cause fuck you. X200B. That's why. They don't care. They don't have to care. They're the king and you little peons will bow down. Sit on the floor and mention it to every customer that the boss doesn't want you sitting on chairs. Encourage them to complain. Studies have shown that eliminating all sitting positions and forcing employees to stand for hours productivity increases employee discomfort, is ultimately deleterious to their health and increases insurance costs. Other than vague references to looking professional, they have no real reason unless the job can not be done from a sitting position. For this reason, many jurisdictions have and are passing laws that give employees more rights to sit. Check your country state. Right to sit should be federal law, and it should mandate that the chair has a back, unless the employee specifically chooses to use a stool or other backless chair. Ask your boss if they'd appreciate trading out their office desk for a standing desk for their work. Tone changes real quick. Just visited Ireland a few weeks ago. Went into a grocery store. Super Save or something. All of the checkout clerks were sitting in chairs. I was thrown off because I'd never seen such a thing in the US. I can't imagine a US corp allowing it. It would get laughed at by management. Not saying things are perfect in Ireland. I'm sure far from it, but just something interesting. Bet the boss spends most of their time sitting without anyone questioning how hard they can work. Should steal the boss's chair for a day and leave the stool in there. The boss owes that employee a new chair or money. I worked at a grocery store in the 90s and was very pregnant, and they would get mad that I leaned against the register when there wasn't anyone in my line. Such stupidity. Go to the boss's office every day and take out her chair. Standing desks are better for you, right? People need to start complaining that the workers are standing. Then maybe they will stop removing chairs. Time to file for workers' comp because your back hurts from all that standing. In the US, for some reason, collectively, people have decided that sitting is lazy. I hear people in the shops and markets in Europe sit and think Americans are bonkers. I need to get to Europe. They seem like nice folks. If you're not suffering, they're not happy. Your discomfort makes them feel like they're getting their money's worth. A few years back, I was a hostess at a big-name chain restaurant in the US, and the manager told us not to lean on the host stand because it makes the customers think we're bored. And another time it was really hot, like 90 degrees Fahrenheit outside, and there were huge windows in front of the host station, so with the sunlight coming through it was miserable. Me and a coworker started fanning ourselves with a menu, and we were told to stop because it's a bad look.